Imagine a time before time existed, complete darkness, no stars, no galaxies, no atoms. In fact, there was no space to put an atom in. There was simply nothing. And then, in a fraction of a second, everything came into existence. Science calls it the Big Bang, the moment when our universe suddenly exploded onto the scene. Energy, matter, space, and time, all born in an instant. But here's the question that haunts atheism. Can nothing create something? If you hear a loud bang outside your window, you don't think, oh, that sound just created itself. No. You know there was a cause. Something exploded. Someone dropped something. Logic tells us everything that begins to exist has a cause. The universe began to exist. Therefore, the universe has a cause. But it gets deeper. Scientists tell us about the second law of thermodynamics. It says that the universe is running out of usable energy, like a battery that is slowly draining. Now think about this. If the universe is like a battery that is winding down, then someone, at the beginning of time, must have wound it up. A dead battery cannot charge itself. Who charged the universe? Furthermore, the Big Bang was not a chaotic explosion, like a grenade. It was a highly controlled expansion. Nobel Prize winners have calculated that if the rate of expansion had been different by just 1 part in a million, stars and planets would never have formed. It was precise. It was calculated. Even the famous astronomer Robert Jastrow, who was not a religious man, admitted, "For the scientist who has lived by his faith in the power of reason, the story ends like a bad dream." He has scaled the mountains of ignorance. He is about to conquer the highest peak. And as he pulls himself over the final rock, he is greeted by a band of theologians who have been sitting there for centuries. This means the cause of the universe must be outside of nature. Since it created time, it must be timeless. Since it created space, it must be spaceless. And since it created everything from nothing, it must be immensely powerful. Think about it. If I put an empty box in a room and wait for 1 billion years, will a laptop suddenly appear inside it? Of course not. Nothing comes from nothing. So why are we told that the entire universe, with all its laws and beauty, just popped out of zero? The Big Bang was not just an explosion. It was the beginning of a story. And every story needs an author. Think beyond.